If we want to bring the 2000s back, there's a couple things we need to do first. First thing we need to do is get rid of Twitter, okay? Getting rid of Twitter alone would already make it feel way more like the 2000s, because in the 2000s, Twitter wasn't that prominent. Another thing we should do if we want to bring back the 2000s is get rid of all these modern slangs that we like to use, like beast and
other terms such as calling people a simp and describing something as being cringe were also things that weren't done in the 2000s. So if you really want to bring back the 2000s, modern ways of saying things, modern slangs like that, we would have to not say them.
stuff like that. Like, no one used to say base. No one used to describe things as being base back in the 2000s. So, to bring back the 2000s, we'll have to get rid of modern ways of saying things like that. Another thing we should do if we want to make it feel like the 2000s again is, if a game comes out and it's looking like shit, maybe we should just be more straightforward about things and just say it just looks like shit right off the bat. And if we actually play it and check it out and turns out to not be shit, then that's how things are, because in the 2000s, people with their opinions, they seem to be a lot more straightforward when it came to giving their opinions about various things. In the 2000s, people are a lot more brutal with their opinions. I notice these days, like when a new game comes out or something, even if the game has a lot of seems to have a lot of flaws, or the show that's coming out seems to have a lot of flaws, people would still bypass those things, and they would say how it looks like it's going to be very good and stuff like that. But then when they actually check it out, they actually only now start talking about the flaws and all that. I think people need to stop doing that if they want to make things feel like the 2000s again. Another thing people need to stop fucking doing if they want to make it feel like the 2000s again, people need to stop getting so political about everything these days. One thing I notice about people these days, they get too friggin' political about so many different things. It doesn't matter if it's games, cartoons, or what. It doesn't matter how trivial or how big it is. People just love to lob politics into everything these days. Nobody in the 2000s was all over like politics and all that shit back in the 2000s. Most people didn't give a shit. Alright, people were cool in the 2000s. No one cared. These days, like, I think politics get too ingrained into our everyday lives these days, and it kind of sucks out the fun out of things these days. So if we want to bring back the 2000s, I think that's one of the things we should do. Another thing we need to stop doing if we want to bring back the 2000s is making up all these random new holidays all of a sudden. Like in the 2000s, everybody would just celebrate the regular holidays everybody knows about. But nowadays, people just keep coming up with all these random holidays out of the blue that weren't there before, out of nowhere. I think if we want to bring back the 2000s, that's one of the things we have to do. Just celebrate the regular holidays everybody knows, and not all these random new holidays that just come out of nowhere.